made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic bootcamp, California Jam, Move Well University, the Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, the Chiro Dex app, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Chiro Spark, Chirogram, Chiropractic Wealth Management, 8 Weeks to Wellness, Integrative Freedom, and Element Mattresses. Let's hustle.
All right, guys, welcome to episode 34 of Chiro Hustle. I'm your co-host, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we have a powerhouse guest, Kalie Judge. She is a fourth-generation Doctor of Chiropractic and the 32nd in the lineage of her family. So stay tuned for her amazing story of how she became a chiropractor and how she's changing her community's lives. So just tell us a little bit about your chiropractic story and how you got into chiropractic.
It's a good story. So I was kind of born into chiropractic, I guess. You know, my family, we have 4 generations of chiropractors in our family dating back to 1925 when the first chiropractor in our family graduated. So when I graduated, I was the 32nd chiropractor in my family to go through. Actually, I think probably 28 of us have gone through Palmer. So we got kind of a name for ourselves at Palmer. But I remember growing, and I think the really cool part of this story is that neither one of my parents are chiropractors, and yet my brother and I still found chiropractic and fell in love with it. And that just goes to show, you know, when our families got together, we had our reunions, it was a lot of chiropractic talk, and I remember my grandfather used to speak about the miracles that he would see, and my aunts and uncles would talk about stuff. So, neither one of my parents are chiropractors. 1923, my great uncle's sister was working for BJ Palmer, and he at the time was suffering with allergies, and at that point had moved out to Colorado, out by where you are, to try to get rid of the Midwest allergy issues that they were dealing with. And his sister sent him a letter. He came in to see Dr. Palmer, got adjusted, and his allergies went away. And that's pretty much how my chiropractic story started. So I grew up, I was adjusted the day I was born. I'd never been vaccinated. I've never taken any medications. My childhood looked completely different than most people's childhoods. Thinking about it, I was writing this out today, just thinking about it, it's kind of a social anomaly, back in the day. And really what my brother and I are trying to create these days is just what we grew up in, trying to recreate that mentality.
So what would you say makes you unique in the chiropractic world?
That's a really good question, and for the longest time I was like, man, I just don't have that chiropractic story. I don't have that I almost was dying and I got adjusted and I came back to life, that kind of story that most people look for. And then it hit me and hit my brother too. I was like, man, we have the best story ever because we never had to deal with that stuff, and we have 35 chiropractors in our family, and that, that's the most. There's probably two other families that are right up there with us. So that's extremely unique. And one of my passions is to keep chiropractic unfiltered and unwatered down. And I feel like a lot of times people try to look for the next best thing in chiropractic, and really what we have as chiropractors is we already have the best thing. You just have to continue to fall in line with it and know and understand what that's all about. So as far as being unique in chiropractic, I think my back end story, but then I also just feel the passion that I have for females to do well in practice and to do well in their communities, because a lot of times, and this goes for almost every profession, that the male, it's a male-dominated world, right? And so a lot of times females think that they take the back seat, and that's just not the case. And I know that there's a ton of men out there that are really like rooting for us and that love the female aspect of chiropractic. But I just love to see women be empowered in chiropractic and really help coach them through that part of it too.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like how you said unfiltered and unwatered down. And just a little side story here. This morning we had a guy come by and service our dryer. And he was asking me about what was set up over here. And I'm like, yeah, we run a podcast. It's on chiropractic. And he was like, yeah, I went for the first time. He's like, I'm 51. He's like, I went for the first time. And I was like, well, what did they do? And he told me exactly what they did. And he's like, well, why is it like, why do I have to like go back?
Yeah, I mean, that's every day, you know, like people think, you know, we have the medical system where you go in and you get a doctor's consultation, and then it's like you leave there with this laundry list of medicines to take, and that's supposed to be your answer right then and there. So people now come into the chiropractic office. I just had this happen on Monday, and this new patient came in, and she was like, I'm like, okay, so we took x-rays, we did the exam, all this stuff. I have to review your stuff, and we'll have you come back. You know, can we get you back here tomorrow? And she was like, wait, I didn't think I had to come back. I'm like, well, that's exactly it. She's like, I just need an adjustment. I'm in pain. I'm like, well, I want nothing more than to give you an adjustment, but you also want me to see exactly what's going on. And so I think sometimes as chiropractors is we try to please people way too much and skip steps. And we just have to keep it pure and keep it simple, and we try to fancy it up way too much, you know?
Yeah, I can see, like, you know, the identity is definitely something that's been kind of tousled around over the past couple decades. I think a lot of times, you know, the young chiropractor comes out, just like you said, you like to empower, you know, the young women chiropractors and give them some type of a leadership. But I think that the whole profession as it is still in kind of like an identity shell. Like they're ready to, like, you know, break out of the identity of what they've been like kind of, you know, the dogmatic approach of chiropractic, you know, history. And now I think 2018 is a good year for, especially for the women chiropractor, to get more empowerment and to get, you know, a greater footprint on the profession.
Yeah, for sure. And it's you know, it's people like you that not only do great things for the profession, chiropractic in general, but you specifically call out, let's get some women on here to speak life and speak truth into this. And, you know, that's just way more powerful than I think that you even consider or recognize how awesome this podcast is. And not just this podcast, because I know you do several things within the profession. And I joke about it that you're more on fire than most chiropractors are for the profession. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, it makes me feel honored for you to say that, especially somebody with such a strong presence in the chiropractic world, and for somebody that has such a lineage in the chiropractic history. So thank you for saying that. It just, you know, I live it, I breathe it, I teach it, I talk it. And that guy that came by and did the dryer checkup for us today, I got him a referral for a different doc here in the Grand Junction area. So, you know, it's just knowing the right things to say to people at the right time.
Right.
So,
sure.
Do you have any quotes or mantras that stick out in your mind that help you with your momentum and commitment as a chiropractor?
You know, I was gonna try to get fancy with this and like pull out something that like nobody knows about or anything like that, but then I kind of just took a step back, and even this morning as I was adjusting people, and just kind of went back to the roots, and we have it all over our walls. I have it written on several different pieces of paper, and it just says simply, the power that made the body heals the body. And, you know, if you just listen to that every single day and remember that the body heals, it takes time to heal, but the power that made the body heals the body. You know, it doesn't matter if you have heart disease or if you have cancer, or if you have diabetes, or if you have toe fungus, or if you have knee pain, or if you have back pain or neck pain. The power that made the body heals the body. So we've got to remove the interference off of the spinal cord, the brainstem, and the nerves to allow that power to go back to work, and let God do what He's designed the body to do. You have an amazing healing potential inside your body. Every single one of us has that. It's just a matter do we have the knowledge and understanding of where the interference is coming from, and what do we need to do with that knowledge? What do we need? So once we find the interference, what happens from there? Where do we go from there? Like what's the plan to get the interference to go away? And so I was gonna like pull out some awesome like old school BJ Palmer quotes and stuff, but that's just like, that has always kept me grounded. Even in those moments where you try to like, okay, let's go get this supplement, let's take this, and let's do this modality, let's do this over here, let's dip our hands over here. It's like, nope, the power that made the body heals the body. What am I forgetting to do chiropractically before I go outside of that?
Yeah, and you know exactly what you just said. The guy was like, yeah, I thought I was going to have to get some type of like a pill to remedy this or something, like some type of like pain patch or something. And I was like, dude, your body needs nothing extra in it. It simply needs no interference. And then I pulled out my somatic chart from my screenings, and I was like, look, dude, these segments of your spine go to these segments of your organ system. I was like, so you might just see it as pain, and that makes sense to you, but as you start getting care regularly, your body starts going into a balance of health. And you know, that just what you said, it's like it makes sense to us, but most people, like I mean, the guy's 51, he doesn't get it.
Right.
Like,
and we still just want like a fancy answer. Like people want like and it's so simple. Like the way you just said that, I was like, no, you just have interference. They're like, what do we got to do to get rid of it? And people want this like super in-depth conversation. It's like, I just need to remove the pressure off your nerve. I don't know what's gonna happen after that. Like let's just start there. You know.
So let's transition a little bit more onto you, and what can we accomplish if everybody knew what you're doing in the chiropractic world? What would it do for the future of chiropractic?
Awesome question. And again, like thinking through this answer, I wish I could say that I had like some magic potion, but I feel like we as chiropractors, we just need to stand united in the principle and to not forget what our forefathers have worked so hard to do of, you know, again, going back to the power that made the body heals the body. And when you listen to Jim Sigafus and you listen to Fred Barge and you listen to old BJ Palmer tapes, and there was nothing really fancy about that. And they were super successful chiropractors. And maybe it's not success in monetary values, but they were successful in getting people well. And it wasn't from doing these fancy pants things. I walk into some other chiropractors, or people I'll send a family member to a chiropractor, and they're like, well, they try to hook me up to these electrodes and all this other stuff. And it's like, man, they're missing what we have that is just so precious that we get to deal with in our hands every single day. And that's just solely the brainstem, the spinal cord, and the nerve roots. And the problem is that most chiropractors forget, and they just think that it's just a stack of bones that we're pushing around every single day. When the reality is that you're moving those bones to release pressure, to let this beautiful life flow down through the rest of the body. And if people can just stay grounded in that, that's when we're going to see the needle shift from traditional medicine to chiropractic. That's when we're going to see it. And you go into some of the top chiropractors in the world, and I know that you know so many of them, Jim, and I think that you could tell me that they all agree with this one thing, is that we've got to get back to the basics.
So where do you see the chiropractic profession in 20 years?
Where do I see it? You know, I honestly, if it goes the direction where some people are taking it, it's going to be a disaster. However, if it goes in the direction where we remember what a green book is, we remember where the philosophy comes from, we remember what it means to work together as a team and not against each other. Like, you look at the dentist profession, or you look at any other medical professions, like, they don't work against each other. And then you look in the chiropractic realm, and it's like we're battling each other more than we're battling other professions. And so I want to say that I see it being, like, my vision for chiropractic, when I really truly step back and look, is I see chiropractic at the forefront of healthcare. I see chiropractic being the forerunners of what people run to, and chiropractors being the primary healthcare doctors. and chiropractors being the ones that the families come to get well and stay well, and that we don't push vaccines on these kids and see 1 out of 36 boys have autism all of a sudden. We don't see kids being brought into our offices with diabetes and obesity, and I see that chiropractic is really truly what is going to save and change this planet.
Well, a lot of what you're saying, Kalie, Dr. Kalie, is the human body has gone through a lot of changes over the years, and we've adapted so well to all the toxins, but more people are sick than ever. And another thing that you touched on there was the brain capacity of fitting in the chiropractic model. In the chiropractic world, the chiropractic word is so powerful, and everybody got taught how to own it differently. And I think that's what happened back in the day, is people got taught how to market the chiropractic principle differently, and adding in more services that really diluted the profession of just the, let us check you and adjust you. And we're still breaking free of the shackles of confusion from what happened when the insurance infiltrated the profession and told people, hey, if you do these little shock pads, you're going to be able to bill more. Hey, if you do this, you'll be able to bill more. And I think what you're saying throughout this interview is we need to get back to the point where we're delivering pure, unfiltered chiropractic. And we need to own chiropractic, the word, as a profession, instead of trying to subdivision it and to make it make sense for our small little practice.
100%, Jim, and I can tell you this from personal experience, watching my 35 chiropractors in my family go through a series of, there is one generation in our family where they got hit with the insurance bug. And so there's this family that grew up being principled and only knowing chiropractic for what it was, to suddenly getting watered down and not adjusting their own families and not even living in the principle. And I see now some other family members that are taking their kids to get organs removed and get put on different prescription drugs, and it's like, man, where did we go wrong? Where did we lose this at? And so it's when you let those little tiny things creep in and let something like an insurance card dictate how well you're going to take care of your patients, instead of saying, okay, you have this wrong with you, I see it on your x-ray, do you see it? We've got to get this corrected, here's what you have to do, this is what it's going to take.
And
does that make sense?
Yeah, what you're saying is chiropractic got dictated back to sick care.
For sure, 100%. It got put in the same category as any other doctor.
So, you said that, there's people out there that are really doing, a disservice to the profession by trying to, change, the future of chiropractic. What do we have to do to make sure that doesn't happen?
I think that there's, honestly, a lot of ego that needs to be dropped with people. Everybody thinks that they have the best thing, and it's their own version of chiropractic. And when you have too much ego involved in that, it's gonna end up being defaulted in some sense. So we got to drop the ego and really start working together towards everything. And again, it goes back to, what is chiropractic? Where did it start from? It started from taking pressure off of the nervous system, allowing the body to go back to function and heal the way that it was designed to. That's it, right?
A lot of what you're saying is so true.
So we're going to switch gears here just a little bit. Can you share with our audience some of your favorite marketing strategies and how you market yourself to your audience?
Yeah, so just last year, my brother and I started a podcast / Facebook Live. I don't know what you call it. I guess it turned into a podcast, and it's called Tea Time with the Judges. So we film that every Tuesday and Friday, and then I am constantly, like Jim was kind of making fun of me earlier, but I'm constantly using Instagram and Facebook, and getting better and better at that. Starting to use Instagram more for patient-based stuff, because I have a lot of patients that follow me on that. And then Facebook, that's where I'll do a lot of my Facebook testimonials and things like that. As far as marketing goes, I can honestly and proudly say that we are a probably 95% referral-based practice. Not saying that we didn't go through our screening days, we didn't go through our Facebook marketing days, but we have just found that internally, if you can lead your people to be leaders of their people, that's how we create the most change in here.
And who are some of the people that you followed to figure out how to do these things properly?
Which kind of things? Like Facebook stuff?
I would say like Facebook and Instagram, and then how did you learn how to do referrals properly even?
Yeah, so I'm a part of, as you guys probably know, I'm a part of Maximize Living and have been with them through all of my student teaching. So I learned a lot of my internal referral game from them, been coached by them. Chris Zano was a huge impact on my life as far as how to treat patients, how to look at social media, and then internally looking at myself at who I had to become to be the leader of people. And then I'm just constantly watching people on social media, Instagram and Facebook, to see what they're doing and to see, like, if this person's got thousands of followers, like, how did they get that? What are they doing to sustain that? And then I'm just kind of tweaking it and playing, seeing what results we get by ourselves. One thing that I just started doing is when I'm doing a patient testimonial, and this is going to be a good little nugget for you guys that are listening. When I do a patient testimonial, I'll do it on my private Facebook page. And I'm friends with most of my patients on Facebook because, people used to have this stigma of you shouldn't be friends with your patients, da-da-da. Well, first of all, I have nothing to hide, and they love to see what my life looks like. And then also, when I'm doing a patient testimonial, now I can say, hey, I'm going to tag that person. So now all of their friends get to see what their person is talking about. And I'll get 3 to 5 patients new to come in from a Facebook testimonial video if I do it correctly.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Chiro Sushi, Barbara Eaton's 56-day chiropractic boot camp, California Jam, Move Well University, the Black Diamond Club, Pure Chiro Notes, the Chiro Dex app, Dr. Alok Trivedi, Chiro Spark, Chirogram, Chiropractic Wealth Management, 8 Weeks to Wellness, Integrative Freedom, and Element Mattresses. Let's hustle. That's fire, girl. And I think that back in the day, the coaches didn't realize, or the people that were dictating how people portrayed themselves on the media platforms, they didn't realize how transparent we are anyways, and how everybody has a watchful eye on, if they're not watching us on Facebook, they're watching us on Instagram. If they're not watching us on Instagram, they're watching us on LinkedIn. And if they're not watching us there, they're watching us on Twitter. And,
Yes. So it's funny because I have a LinkedIn account, but I don't use that ever really. And I'll have people new patients come in and they'll tell me something about myself. I'm like, how do you even know that? I'm like, oh, I read your LinkedIn profile. I'm like, oh shoot, I haven't touched that thing in probably years, So it's just funny where people are looking to find stuff for you. And I think it's Zano or somebody says it if you don't. For sure, probably Roberto Monaco. He says if you don't tell your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you. And so that's where that's when I started to let people into my Facebook world of I'm gonna if people want to know what my story is, I'm gonna just let them see it full out. And so I'll go travel on a weekend. People can see what I eat. People can see how I work out. People can see that I'm getting adjusted on vacation or doing my home care exercises, and they just get to see an inside view. But then not only that, but that kind of sort of keeps me accountable to some level too, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us, what are some of your favorite apps or pieces of technology to keep you engaged with your audience?
Yeah, I'm simple. It's Instagram and Facebook. I don't even use Snapchat. I have my Twitter account set up, but I just post from what I post from Instagram. So I'm just really using Instagram and Facebook, and that's pretty much it.
So how have you found which is the best way to grow your audience on those platforms?
Hashtag game. It has to be solid on Instagram. and I'm still not very, very great at that. And then Facebook is tagging people that know people. So like if I'm doing a testimonial with like Jim, let's say that you're my patient, I'm gonna tag you in that video and then post about what's going on, and then let people go. We'll go live with them and answer questions as we're going live. And that has been just like the biggest like epiphany for me, because that's like all of a sudden like all these people started calling in like, hey, I saw my Uncle Joe that was on your Facebook Live video. I want to get the results that they're getting. And it's like, oh, sweet, you know. And this has come to find out like Joe's been trying to like tell them his story for months, and then they see him on Facebook, and it's like validation that everything's going well, you know.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think that's a really cool hack. One of our sponsors is called Chirogram, Christopher Collins. So if you need to up your game with getting more followers in your area, Chirogram is definitely somebody that I recommend to all of my tribe. Okay. So that could be a really good nugget for you.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, he's dynamic. He took us like in 2 months. We were at 365 followers. I know because there's 365 days in the year. And now I can't tell you, I think we're like over 3,000 in like just over 2 months.
Wow. Yeah, so, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll get a hold of him because I have another project, and you might know and see this, but we do, my two best friends, we're also chiropractors in Nashville. We do this thing called Challenge Ninjas. So it's a internet web-based fitness program that's basically based off of Instagram, and we throw out monthly challenges for fitness, no cost to anybody, and just allowing people to, you know, because when you look at like fitness, just like chiropractic, but you can't really adjust somebody over the internet, so it's a little bit different. So you got to get them to come in. But with fitness, like, people are afraid to go into the gym. People are afraid to pay money. People are afraid to do all this stuff. So it's like, let's break down all the barriers and get people on board. And so now we've seen this, like, ginormous global movement start to kind of come together. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But we're seeing like 100 I want to say visits, 100 likes a month come in from that account. So we're trying to work on getting that up there too. So that's a whole nother project.
Well, that's really cool. And, you know, I think honestly, Kalie, is people are starving for good information. And those that deliver the most consistent good information are the ones that will rise to the top. Because right now, like you've probably been able to figure this out too, everybody's their own network. Right. And everybody's their own media engine. And like that's what we are, Chiro Hustle. Like we weren't anything 5 months ago. And then all of a sudden now we are like the hot topic in the chiropractic world. And thank you for being a part of that too. And, you know, thank you for being a part of this Chiropractic Women series as well. And I don't know if you knew this, but I'm going to throw a little, you know, info to you that might be helpful. But 50% of all the students in school right now are women.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's just more leadership roles opening up, like as we talk, for women chiropractors. And I know that, you know, as we go on in the future, there's going to be more leadership roles, like in all divisions of chiropractic run by women. So, guys, watch out.
Amen.
But I do think it's real important to have like a feminist approach to chiropractic because it is such a nurturing, life-giving resource to people's health. And I think that when you were talking earlier about we need to get rid of this ego, well, I think the ego is going away. And I think that those are dogmatic conversations of yesterday. And I think that the new conversations are, hey, we're all more alike than we are different. And we have more unity through diversity than ever before. And I think that we have a new conversation than that chiropractor was talking even 3 months ago.
Yeah, I agree, and I can see it translating because, you know, what else is cool about social media is that you get to see what everybody else is doing too. And so you get to see all these groups, like isolated groups of chiropractors coming together to do events together and have random people come to their events. And it's just, I just think that if we can do chiropractic together, that's how chiropractors are going to be the people that save and change the world.
So, I'm going to go a little off script again with you. Most of this interview's been off script because I just enjoyed the free flow of it. What are some things you're looking forward to in 2018? And what are some of the things that we should be on the lookout for you?
A lot of 2017 was kind of just being grounded and being here. And 2018, what I'm looking forward to, I've got a couple speaking opportunities, and I'm looking forward to more happening and good for God to open up those doors there too. But then also too is just community based here in St. Charles is to just up our game a lot more. We're just talking with our team right before I got on this call, and it was our framework is set, and now we're ready to just go expand out and just touch more lives. But then too, like I have a passion for getting in front of people and speaking about chiropractic, speaking about health, speaking about what's holding them back from getting to the next level. And so I'm just looking forward to the opportunities that are already set in stone, but then also the other opportunities that are going to be coming my way also. Because I feel like we just need some really good advocates out there for chiropractic, whether it be speaking to other chiropractors or speaking to businesses or just whatever the audience is. We just need some more people out there willing to sacrifice their time to save and change some other people's lives.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and I think it's really cool that you're getting more speaking gigs. That's where we first met, talking to the Philos group down at Logan College. And I think that after that, I think we were standing next to each other, and I was like, you don't realize who I am. I'm kind of a big deal.
I know. I'm like, so what do you practice? And you're like, I don't practice. I'm like, okay, so what are you doing here? And you're like, oh, I make films for chiropractors. I'm like, oh, sweet. I think we should know each other.
No, that was really cute. It was.
I mean, that's just me in my most vulnerable state right there. Like I don't know. I don't know who you are. So who are you? Let's get to know each other.
No, it was really cool, and I love what they're doing down there at Logan, bringing in the high profile people and getting the chiropractic students down there on principle and getting them the philosophy and the knowledge that they need, and just filling up their cups, because some of that group that was in that room that day, they're going to go on to be the next world changers.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that group got to listen to some pretty phenomenal speakers that weekend. I mean, yeah. Liam was there too, and he got a hold of me to go down to I don't know if you've heard, I think you're probably going to be there, but the Berkshire event.
Yeah, the Berkshires, yep.
Yeah, so I'm speaking there in April, so
nice.
That's kind of cool. And that relationship was developed through Liam, which was developed at that St. Louis talk also. So it's just really cool when we can recognize something as chiropractors and kind of speak for each other and yeah. So.
Well, we help each other out, and Frank Vaught, that was the first time I met him, and I had a little bit of pushed this idea to Tristan Schaub to get him to speak at Sushi.
Yeah. Cool.
So there's a lot of brain trust that comes together, even if it's at a small room like that we were at.
Super small room.
I mean, we were speaking in a mall.
I know. With barely any stage and funky lights, and it doesn't matter. That's the thing. That's where I think about old school chiropractic. I got to speak about a month ago in a patient's house in their basement to people they worked for, and I was like, man, this just feels like old school chiropractic. Sigafus would be doing this, or Fred Barge would have done this, going into somebody's basement. That's what that mall talk. That's what that felt like to me. I'm surrounded with some of my biggest mentors and some chiropractic greats. Just spitting truth, that was such talk about unfiltered and unwatered down. That was just an awesome event to be at.
Yeah, I agree. I love what they're doing for the chiropractic world out there in St. Louis. So we're going to go back onto our task again and get back on script with you. And Luke's gonna interject with you, and we're gonna, make it more cohesive.
So, what kind of things do you like to read and listen to in your spare time? What do you feed your brain?
Yeah, so I have a couple staples. Podcasts I am absolutely in love with. One that I listen to for sure every single day, Monday through Friday. It's called the Quote of the Day Show. It's by Sean Croxton. And he just brings in these like super successful people and just plays like a 7 to 12 minute clip of their amazing talk. And so I listen to that every single day. There's a podcast called Sig Talks that I love to go and listen to. I'm listening to Bulletproof Radio and then some different sermons and churches from different pastors that I listen to. As far as reading goes, one thing that I can say is that if you do not have your morning routine developed, like you have to get that nailed down, because that has completely transformed my worldview, my mind, my mantra, whatever it is. Like, so I wake up in the morning, I'm reading the Bible, I'm reading green books, I'm journaling, I'm writing out my affirmations, looking over my goals, looking at my day that's to come, going through my devotionals, all that stuff. That's my morning routine. And then I'll do my spinal home care, and then I'll work out. And then, so you've got to just have that set in place. And once you can get that morning routine set in stone, there's so much freedom that comes into that. So those are really some of the things that I'm doing as far as like listening. And then I listen to a lot of audiobooks too. And sometimes they're personal development. Sometimes they're like Christian audiobooks and things like that too.
Well, that's really cool. Hopefully you add Chiro Hustle to that list eventually.
Yeah, Chiro Hustle's on there. I forgot to say that.
I always go for that self-plug every once in a while, but it's really cool that you definitely are feeding yourself with information. And I just wanted to ask you, how did you get the discipline to start your morning routine, and how do you stick with it with a busy lifestyle?
Yeah, good question. That started to be developed back in chiropractic school, just from my mentors. And then, there's an old saying where success leaves clues. So you go talk to any like Chris Zanos or Dan Sullivan's or anybody that's successful out in the chiropractic world, or really anywhere. And they're going to tell you that they have a routine that they go through in the morning. And so I just wanted to be a part of that, As far as discipline, one of my biggest things is that once you decide to do something and you commit to it, like there's just no turning back from that. One thing I teach my patients is to stop breaking promises with yourself. So if you promise yourself that you're going to get up and you're going to read and you're going to do all this stuff, and then you don't do it, stop breaking promises with yourself. A book that I just read this year, it's called 5 Second Rule by Mel Robbins, I think her name is. That is completely changed a lot of things that I look at. It's like that like 5-second moment where I'm going to make a decision and then actually taking action on it. So it's all about action and then commitment to what you're doing.
I read some of the 5 Second Rule myself. It's a pretty interesting book. I gotta get around to finishing it.
It's good. It's good stuff. That, and so this year too, like one of the, this is gonna be silly, but it's like impacted so many more people than I thought it was going to. So I'm gonna share it with you guys anyway. But last year, I started to make my bed every single day, and then I read a book that talked about making your bed every morning, and then listened to a YouTube video on it. And just the concept behind that is you get a win right away in the morning. So you start off with a win, and then the rest of your day, no matter how bad it is, you know that you had one victory and that you can control that victory. So making your bed every single day. If you're not making your bed right now, go in and start today and don't miss it. I have not missed a day of making my bed since I decided to do that. And it's been amazing. It's set so many other people free too.
That's funny that you say that, because I just also recently started making my bed every morning.
It's like so stupid, isn't it?
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
A couple months ago, I came home one night and I was on a tirade of like what we could do to be more consistent, what we could do to level up, and what we could do to start framing our lives to hit our goals and be the future us's that we're supposed to become. And I was like, we got to start making our beds. And, I'd been practicing that for like, a few years, but now Luke has caught the wave, and it's I can tell there's a lot of difference in his change too.
Yeah, and then like making sure your closet's organized, making sure that you put things away, like it just kind of transfers into everything else. And one thing I always say too is that the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything. So if you're not making your bed and your closet's a disaster, if your car's a mess, or if your desk is a hot mess, then the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if you're looking around and you're like, it's total chaos in my car, it's total chaos in my closet, on my desk, whatever it is, then, well, that's a sign that something, like, you need to straighten that stuff up before your life is ever going to be to the next level.
Well, we appreciate everything you've shared with us on today's episode, and we're getting ready to wrap it up here.
Awesome.
Is there anything you wanted to discuss with our audience that we didn't ask you?
I think we did. I think we hit everything pretty well. If I can get a little bit of a plug for our little Chiro or Challenge Ninjas.
Absolutely.
If anybody wants to go check out Challenge Ninjas on Instagram, it's just at Challenge Ninjas. We do 1 or 2 challenges for fitness every single month. And that is going to be the answer for fitness for everybody. So this has been such a great thing for my patients also. In the past 4 months, we've really been ramping this up. We've been doing it for about 2.5 years, but really ramping it up in the past 4 or 5 months. And I've had people just losing 25 to 30 pounds just from adding this into their regimen. So it's an amazing program. It's me and my 2 best friends, Dr. Cassie and Dr. Michael Major, down in Nashville, Tennessee. But you'll see all of our stories, and Facebook and Instagram, Challenge Ninjas. We also have a website now. It's challengeninjas.co that we update pretty frequently also. So yeah, that's all my plug I want to give for that.
Fantastic.
And you did say, Dr. Kalie, that you're 4th generation chiropractor?
4th generation, 32nd chiropractor in my family to graduate. There's been a couple since me.
That's really cool. I'm really proud of you for carrying the torch and saving your community's life with chiropractic care.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Well, that is a wrap for our show today, Dr. Kalie. Thank you again for being our guest.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Keep Chiro hustling.
You too. See you guys later.
All right. See you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.